Have you ever worked hard to break a habit and then watched it come right back the moment things get stressful? One hard day shows up, and the old pattern suddenly feels impossible to resist, like it was never really gone. That pull can feel stronger than before. Reaching for a cigarette, a snack, your phone, or a drink almost without thinking. It shows up faster than you expect, almost like it never really left in the first place. This isn't really about weak willpower, even though it can feel that way in the moment. Under pressure, your brain often reaches for whatever feels like the fastest, easiest way to feel calmer again. Right now, picture someone who's eaten carefully for a whole month, feeling proud of the progress. Then they order comfort food the night before a big deadline. One stressful night, and the old habit quietly walks right back in. A lot of people read this moment the wrong way. They assume it means they never really changed at all, like the entire month of effort was somehow wasted or fake. Here's a more accurate way to see it. The old habit likely didn't disappear at all. It may have simply gone quiet, waiting patiently for a stressful moment to return. So why does this particular habit feel like home the moment things get hard? To understand that, it helps to look at where this pattern may have first begun, sometimes years earlier. For a lot of people, a stress habit is often much older than the stress that triggers it today. It didn't start with this deadline or this particular hard week at all. For some, it may trace back to an earlier time in life, a period when things generally felt harder to control. That old feeling of needing something to hold on to isn't new, it's familiar. A behavior that once made a hard moment feel a little easier can quietly become the go-to fix, almost without you noticing. The mind remembers what worked before, sometimes for years afterward. Think of a kid who found that snacking helped ease tense, uneasy evenings at home. That small comfort can stick around long after childhood is over, tucked quietly into adulthood. It's easy to hear this and assume something is fundamentally wrong with you as a person. But that's not really what's happening here at all, and it never was. It may not be that something is broken inside you. It's more that your brain once found something that worked well, and it simply remembered the shortcut ever since. Knowing where a pattern may have started is only part of the picture, though it can feel meaningful. It still doesn't explain what's actually happening inside you when stress hits right now. To understand why the pattern returns, it helps to look at what may be happening inside you under stress. This part isn't about blame at all. It's simply about mechanics. Under pressure, your thinking can start to narrow almost without you realizing it's happening. The easiest option sitting right in front of you can start to feel like the only option available. In plain terms, stress can pull your energy away from careful, thoughtful decisions. It pushes you toward fast, familiar shortcuts instead, almost automatically, before you've even chosen. After an exhausting day, the couch and your phone can feel a lot more appealing than the gym bag sitting by the door. That's not laziness. That's depletion. And the two feel very different up close. It's tempting to call this laziness and simply leave it there. But in the moment, it's often closer to running low on mental fuel than lacking motivation entirely. A more accurate read might be this: your brain is conserving energy, not your character quietly failing you. Those are two very different things, even if they can look the same from outside. This internal shortcut doesn't stay abstract for long. It tends to show up in very ordinary, everyday moments. You might not even notice at first until you start paying attention. This pattern often plays out quietly across everyday routines and relationships. It rarely announces itself with any warning. It just quietly shows up again and again in small ways. Maybe it's reaching for your phone in the middle of a deadline you're trying hard to hit, or snapping at family after a hard week, or skipping a workout after an argument with someone close. Each new stressful moment can reconnect to that same old familiar response you already know well. Work, home, or your phone. The trigger changes, but the underlying pattern often looks the same. Think of someone who cut back on social media for several weeks straight, feeling genuinely lighter. Then a stressful exam week hits, and they're scrolling again like nothing ever changed at all. It's easy to treat one stress moment as proof that the whole effort failed completely. But one moment and total failure simply aren't the same thing at all, even if they feel that way. A single return under pressure can be seen as information about a hard moment you were going through. It's not a final verdict on who you are as a person or how far you've come. But this return is often misunderstood in ways that can make it harder to move forward from. Those misunderstandings are worth a closer, more honest look right now. Many people misread what it actually means when a stress habit resurfaces after a while. The story they tell themselves in that moment can matter more than the habit itself ever does. There's often a wave of shame that follows, thinking, I ruined everything, or I'm right back to zero again. That feeling can hit hard, and it can hit fast, before you can even think it through clearly. But that kind of thinking blurs an important, easy-to-miss line between two very different things. A habit returning once and a permanent failure simply aren't the same thing at all. Someone might abandon an entire new routine after just one stressed lapse on a hard day. Even though weeks of real, genuine change still happen before that single moment, harsh self-criticism can feel like motivation in the moment, like it's pushing you forward. But it often adds more stress instead, which can pull you right back toward the old habit. There's a real difference between judging a habit and simply trying to understand it a little better. One keeps you stuck in place. The other quietly opens things up for you. With a clearer understanding, there may be a steadier way to work with a habit that keeps returning. That steadier approach usually starts with a little more everyday awareness. From here, a more grounded way of relating to stress and old habits starts to become possible. It doesn't require perfection at all, just a little more noticing, day to day, week to week. It might start with simply noticing the early signals of stress as they slowly build up inside you. Catching them before the habit has already fully taken over the moment completely. Noticing early can create a small pause between the stress and the automatic action that usually follows it. It doesn't promise the pattern disappears forever. It just quietly opens up a gap. Picture pausing for just a few seconds before opening an app during a stressful, overwhelming moment. That small gap can be enough to actually notice you have a choice at all. In that instant, it's tempting to expect awareness alone to fix everything instantly and completely once and for all. But that's rarely how real, lasting change actually works in everyday practice. Change in this area tends to be slow and a little uneven. More often than not, for most people, it gets built through many small, ordinary moments, not one big dramatic shift. A habit returning under stress may say less about failure and more about being human and simply trying to cope the best way you currently know how to with what you have. So the next time an old habit shows back up under pressure, try meeting it with a little curiosity instead of blame. It's often less about willpower and more about what once felt safe to you a long time ago. If this helped you notice a pattern in yourself, give it a like, subscribe for more like this, and tell us in the comments which habit tends to come back for you under stress.